Good morning, guys. My name is Kathy. This is the Metaphysical Wolf. Today is a day you are making. You must rejoice and be glad in it. Remember to say this to yourself every morning. It is a phrase that I started saying to myself because I wanted to dictate how my days would go. It is in the Bible. Today is a day God has made. Be glad and rejoice in it, right? If I'm wrong, correct me. I'm paraphrasing here. But it is a great reminder to let you know that the weather does not dictate how you feel. The people at work cannot, should never dictate how you feel about yourself, how you view yourself, your identity. People outside of your reality, right, that are around you, they should never be able to dictate who you are, what you want for your life and for yourself. I remember a friend of mine, and I was like very young, and I was debating whether I should stay here in the US or go study abroad. And I said, I'm not getting anybody to support me. And my mom, my family, they're not really supporting me. And I was thinking of moving to London, which I ended up doing, for 3 years, in fact. And I remember when I told him that I was very confused and I was very down because, I didn't get the support from my family like I really wanted. And he said, listen, learn to be your own marching band. Become your own marching band. Cheer for yourself. Do not worry whether your mom supports you, your dad supports you, your sister, your brother, whoever it may be. Be your own marching band. And I never forgot what he said to me. And I carried that with me for years. And that helps me determine things that I wanted to do that were pretty much considered outside of the box. I ended up moving to London after he gave me that advice because I was scared, right? I wasn't sure. So I ended up moving to London, and then later on when I came back here to the US, I worked a little bit here in New York, and then I moved to Haiti, where I think I might have said this here before on this channel, I managed to build a 6-figure business. And I don't mean in Haitian currency, I mean in US currency. So anywhere you are in the world, you have to control your own temperature. Do not worry about the outside world, never. And once you do that, you learn to remain in that state. Let's say that you pick a state. The state of, I am going to be joyful no matter what transpires. I'm going to remain joyful. There are things that are hard, don't get me wrong. This is not delusional la la land, this world. It's a tough place. But you have to also create a perception that helps you remain solid. So I remember, I'm not a Bible reader, but I'll tell you this. I remember this very famous phrase that Jesus said to Peter. Peter, on that rock, I will build my church, and the gates of hell will not prevail. I believe it's Matthew 16:18 or 18:16. I don't recall. But this is the phrase here that he said, the famous sentence. And it goes something like that. Again, I'm paraphrasing here. Now, a lot of times, we tend to believe that he was talking about an actual church. That's what they've taught us. And the more I look into, metaphysics, and I study metaphysicians like Neville Goddard or Reverend Ike. If you don't know who Reverend Ike is, I welcome you to YouTube him and find a lot of his teaching. He used the Bible, and was teaching the psychological aspect of the Bible, in its esoteric meaning, metaphysical meaning. And this is the reason why I call this channel Metaphysical Wolf. My name is Wolf, my last name is Wolf. So now he was not talking about an actual church, like a building. If you really delve into this, he is talking about the kingdom of God. Where is the kingdom of God? Within. So if, I build my church on that rock, be sure that the gates of hell cannot prevail. they will not prevail, not even the gates of hell. Meaning that your kingdom of God, which is within you, if it's built solidly, nothing can disturb that. So in a metaphysical sense, this is what Jesus was referring to. And Jesus being the imagination, as Neville Goddard says, the higher consciousness, or the Christ consciousness. What is that? It is that light bulb, right? That is who we really are, the being that we really are. And when you focus on that being, the kingdom of God, or remaining in that state of the kingdom of God, the gates of hell cannot prevail. So, my friends, I meditated on that particular passage, but I thought of it in its esoteric meaning, deeper, going deeper, what was hidden behind that. So we're not talking about going into a building or using a rock to build a building. That's not what he was talking about. So Peter, if you listen to Reverend Ike, Peter is an aspect of the mind. Or he will say the 12 apostles, or faculties of the mind. Like John being love, for instance, and then Peter being a leader, like having strong faith, strong conviction. So if you want to build your kingdom within that state, think like Peter, be like Peter. And that's what Jesus was talking about. Adopt that state of mind, that state of being. Have that unshakable faith. Be that leader. And remain steady. Remain steady. And know that the gates of hell cannot prevail. It is not easy, but it is controlling the temperature within that is going to help you remain on that path. That is going to help you dwell in the kingdom of God. And the God consciousness, the Christ consciousness is also adopting the Peter mindset. It is, in our human form. Okay? The Christ consciousness, our light bulb, is adopting the Peter consciousness, or the Peter mindset, or aspect of the mind, or the faculty of the mind, and embodying that state to build the kingdom of God, or to remain in the kingdom of God, which is that church that he was talking about. Who knows that, in translation, that particular word was not lost a little bit, right? Maybe he meant the kingdom of God, and then they used church in order to, say that, he was talking about building a church, when Jesus never really cared about a temple. He never cared about an actual building. We all know this, right? Those of us who've heard the story of Jesus. I'm not saying that you had to read it, but if you've heard it, and if you've ever watched his movie about his life, right? I've watched that ever since I was a kid, and this is how I know many passages in the Bible, and from time to time I'll read some things that I would remember so that I can understand, right? And the more I delve into esoteric, the esoteric aspect of the Bible, the metaphysical aspect of the Bible, I'm realizing that there's so much more meaning to a lot of things that, the people were talking about. It is really a psychological book to help us navigate through life. It is the blueprint of the psychology that we need, that we should adopt, because we are a consciousness that adopted this human body to live in this physical world, in this denser world. So it really is about shaping our mindset, our vision, our perception in order to dwell in the kingdom of God. If I can leave you with anything today, really is what I've said at the beginning. Today is the day you are making. Be glad and rejoice in it. I like to say, today is the day I'm making, I will rejoice and be glad in it. Or I rejoice and I am glad in it. Determine how your day goes, no matter what happens in the external world. There's so many things happening to distract you, to catch your attention, because your attention is the light bulb, is the consciousness of God. It is the awareness of God, and the moment they get that from you, or anything gets that from you, it is giving it power. It is giving it life. You're building an energy field around it. So the Hearth Mat Institute talks about the electromagnetic field of our mind and our hearts, right? So when you put your mind and heart into something, what happens? It gives it so much energy that it can transform it, literally transform it, right? So I think that and I'll leave you once again with my friend's words: be your own marching band. Cheer for yourself. And you will start seeing changes in your life. Okay, my friends, God bless you. Once again, today is the day you are making. Rejoice and be glad in it.